Meteorologist Mark Molnar as your host for Weather Northeastern. Let's get into some viewer sent in photos and videos here. Brandon from Island Heights, New Jersey, about an hour east of Philadelphia. Back on March 5th, 2015, picking up about 8 inches of snow. It is his largest snowstorm to date so far this winter. Receiving many moderate to smaller storms, as has much of New Jersey into eastern and southern Pennsylvania and Maryland so far this season. But this was the most significant one at 8 inches, and as you can see, he captured this video on the late morning hours of March 5th, 2015. As the snowfall continued, he said this changeover to heavy snow from the mixture and the rain over to heavy snow occurred a couple hours earlier than was anticipated, and this resulted in a good solid 8 inches of snow. Very nice capture of this video across the Island Heights, New Jersey area. As you can see, we scroll through his photos here. The front of his house looking very wintry and picturesque here, and lots of snow on the ground, and of course looking at a bird feeder along the side of his house here. A nice male cardinal trying to get what food he can out of this nice birdhouse here. And of course we continue. Look at this picturesque photo. He describes this as he was walking his dog. He was able to capture what looked like a scene from Vermont, as he describes it. A very long driveway. Look at all the snow clinging to the trees here and all this beautiful picturesque winter wonderland across the Island Heights, New Jersey area. So looking very, very nice across the area. Of course, temperatures have warmed up since then, so some of that is melting. But in the last photo here, this is a scene along many areas. You got these snow-covered bushes, and look at all these icicles forming along the portion here side of the bush. So lots of icicles to be had out there. So be careful if you're walking around structures or stuff like that, especially with the warmer temperatures. Icicles could be falling. So thank you for your insight, Brandon. He also wanted to discuss, of course, the GFS, the recent upgrades. Of course, it's going through a series of upgrades. Actually has done fairly well. He says it performed very good with this storm, predicting anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of snow. So very good to see that the model was pretty consistent this time around. So let's get right into precipitation amounts. Liquid precipitation across the east here. The bullseye is from the lower Mississippi Valley up into the Ohio River Valley, especially just west of the Appalachians and all along the Appalachians up into the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. This is our mid to late week storm into the weekend here. Much of this precipitation will be falling, and look at this good news later on in the forecast period here. We start to see some troughiness here in the Pacific Northwest. We'll start to get some heavier precipitation as well. There's one thing I wanted to discuss. Many of my viewers have been alerting me to this MJO index. Look at how it's going crazy here. Pretty much way off course here. Now, to be said, I've looked at the patterns, and so far the patterns, at least the short to midterm pattern, does not seem to be responding to this, as I'll discuss in my forecast here. But sometimes there's some delayed effects, so this could be a precursor that winter may be trying to return later in the month here across the north and the east part of the country. So I'll keep an eye on this for you, as this is very interesting to say the least. Now let's get right into the problems that are concerning the east here, especially from Wednesday into Saturday, the Northeast, Weather Northeastern. Before we get into that, weekend system here, factors setting up, troughiness here towards the center of the country, ridge ejecting out here, so that trough will be pushing to the east come the weekend here. So on up into the Northeast here, we will be dealing with what could be some frozen precipitation. Now, initially it was looking like a widespread snow event from upstate New York, Pennsylvania, southern Ontario, portions of New England into northern New Jersey. However, at this point of the juncture, and the temperatures have been so warm, it looks like during the day, especially on Saturday, it will be mostly rain, and especially in the valleys. This could be more elevation dependent storm here. The storm, the low centers, of course, one in the Ohio Valley and then one here across the central and eastern Appalachians moving east, will be south of the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the Northeast. And we do have high pressure here in eastern Canada, but it's questionable how much cold air would be able to hold in a scenario like this. So a lot of rain or rain mixed with snow in many areas. especially from the New York-Pennsylvania border on northward. Poconos, Catskills, especially those higher elevations, could stay snow. Adirondacks, White Mountains, Berkshires, all want to stay tuned to this because this looks kind of interesting to say the least. So I'll get into further details later in the week as certainty continues to increase. However, precipitation is kind of on the fence at this point. So as I said, I think this will be more elevation dependent, especially with the higher sun angle this time of year and the warmer temperatures that we have seen. Now further north into northern New England, that's where we could, even in the valleys, see more snow on up into the U.S.-Canadian border. Let's take a look at Wednesday here. We've got that front pushing across southeast Canada. That's the leading edge of some colder air, not tremendously cold, but cooler. And of course, here across the coastal plain and across the lower Susquehanna River Valley, we've got that frontal boundary snaking here across the area. And that will bring bouts of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, perhaps. And of course, look at these temperatures, almost near 60 in portions just south of Harrisburg and New York City here. So getting very warm and toasty across the area. That's kind of a thing of the past on Thursday as the frontal boundary pushes across the northeast, cooling down a little bit. Low to mid 50s across the lower Susquehanna River Valley and onto the coastal plain here. Across northern New England, we really start to cool things down up by Caribou, where we drop a good 15 to 20 degrees down here. And then of course across the Great Lakes and into portions of upstate New York, we cool down into the 30s for many areas. Heading on into Friday, we basically turn that pattern and continue to turn it around here, pushing the frontal boundary even further to the south and the east here. And you see the first evidence here of the trough that's spinning off the lower Mississippi River Valley storm here. This will be spinning, overrunning moisture here from the southwest here, and of course portions of the higher elevations of the Alleghenies could be picking up some possible snow or mix here across the Laurel Highlands and down into the central Appalachians towards West Virginia. But most of this will be in the form of rain, and light rain at that, starting out. Heading on into Saturday, that's where things start to get a little bit more complicated here. You got that cold air hanging tough across northern New England, southeast Canada here with that dome of high pressure. And then you got this troughiness here spinning off the lower Mississippi River Valley and the Ohio Valley system. And moisture will be streaming out ahead of it. And of course, much of it in the valleys will be rain. But as I said, higher elevations could be in the form of snow. Too early to get into amounts at this point, but I'll continue to watch it here at MeteoMark. I'm going to have a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton to Elmira, upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com, it's Twitter at WX Northeastern, and Google Plus at MeteoMark. Here's your 5-day. Look at this, stretching from your Wednesday to your Saturday. We're not looking too bad. Well, we head right through the weekend here. Not too bad here for Wednesday. We have another day of warmth, mid-upper 40s, and some cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, maybe some sun peeking out at times. You head on into Thursday here. That's where we see the cool down. We might not make it to 40, but still a little bit above normal here on Thursday. Heading on into Friday as well. We might make it up to 40 a little bit on Friday in some of the valley locations, but mostly staying a little bit windy right before the next system moves in. Increasing clouds Friday, maybe a late day shower or something like that. And then hanging on to Saturday, that's where we see rain or snow likely, elevation dependent across the Twin Tiers of New York, heading on into the Poconos, Catskills. And look at that Sunday. We start to try to clear things out a little bit, slightly cooler as well. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.